We're going up, up, up to the upper Marae, where stories lift and voices fly. Put your tea towels down, let your worries fade. Open the gates, let the memories cascade. In this podcast world, we give it our best. So grab your cup or come say hi, no jest. We're going up to the upper Marae, where conversations flow and spirits can't lie.
No mai, haere mai, and welcome to the Upper Marae. I'm Dr. Alexander Stevens II. Welcome along to our third episode where we interview our fellow amigo, Sione Finau. Kia ora.
Malo, thanks
Now,
for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So you've been unwell. You don't have to give us gory details.
No,
But you have listened to podcast 1 and 2 where we're kind of introducing who the crew are and the topic of education and stuff.
yeah, I think Nigel and I did pretty well. It's going to be hard to follow up with this one, but no, really happy with how the videos, the podcasts have come.
Yeah, agreed. So, so by way of introduction, just give a very brief intro into who you are. I know that you've done a few podcasts with me in other series, but for those that might be listening for the first time.
Malalele, my name is Sione Finau. I come from the villages of Maufanga and Bear in Tonga. Also have ties to Samoa and Fiji, and I think a bit of Scotland as well, apparently. What was it? My waka is the Royal Tongan Airlines, the Royal Airline.
Okay.
Is what my parents took to come to New Zealand, and this was, I think, maybe on their last or couple of years running where they had that flight airline going. No longer now. And
Did they get peanuts on the plane, or did they get?
I should have asked if they had food or like what they had in there. But like a fun fact is now that plane is being used, I think in like Portugal or something. So they give the plane out those ways because the company liquidated.
Oh dear.
In Tonga. And yeah, so that's a fun fact.
What, they liquidated?
No, what's the liquidated, right?
Yeah, it's liquidated. Your
yeah.
fun fact is that the Royal Tongan Airlines liquidated.
Yeah, and that was what my parents flew to New Zealand with, and
Right.
then
Is this as a result of them flying to New Zealand that went beyond their budget?
I think so. I don't want to get too much details into it. Like it's not a good business story to tell, but
No, that was a fun fact, though.
Fun fact. I just thought
batted that out of the park, Sione.
So my parents, had me, my two younger sisters, and my younger brother out in South Auckland, and grew up basically in Mundidewa my whole life.
We won't hold that against you. What was? I mean, look, we talked a little about education in episode 2, but I mean, we can kind of mix and match. What was it like for you studying and going to school and pick?
Yeah, I think young kid would jump from different schools because both parents were working and kind of moved to schools that was good for me and my siblings, right?
Right.
But I went to high school in Mundidewa High. I think I followed like a traditional route when I was just playing sports in high school.
Mm-hmm. Is that what led you to do your bachelor's in sport and rec?
Yeah, I think PE was probably my strongest subject back in high school.
Because I did want to ask you, out of all the quals, that AUT offered,
yeah,
why sport and rec?
Yeah, that's it. I think that was the.
Yep.
Oh, because I wasn't actually initially going to study at uni post high school, leaving high school.
Right.
Until they offered the scholarship. Oh, the plan was to go to Australia, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the money.
Right. And then somehow you got locked along the way?
Yeah.
You ended up in Manukau campus, or?
Yeah, what was it? I think there's a video we did on this. It
Mhm.
kind of explains in detail, but I did uni prep, which is like a what do you call it? And sort of not workshops, like a program that helps high school leavers transitioning into uni. They knew I wasn't planning to study anyways, but they just asked me to come along.
Right.
And then at the end of it, they offered a scholarship, and then I think that's when I picked sport and recreation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I did uni prep. At the end of it, they offered a scholarship, and then jumped into sport and rec, the bachelor's. And then a year in, I don't know how, but someone spoke about um, the pathway where sport and rec students could study another degree at the same time. Um,
For fun, for education,
you
for
know what?
employment
I
opportunities. What was
can't
the
remember
relevance of them offering
what my young
two
self was
degrees?
thinking.
How old were you at the time?
Definitely still being 18 at the time.
Okay.
Because it was a summer thing that happened. So it was still would have still been like start of
Mm-hmm.
first year, sim 1. I mean, yeah, I think the guy who explained it to me, because his one was in business but majoring in information systems, and the guy who sold it was like, "Oh, I'm sold. Like, I like what this guy's talking about." And then I applied, I think in that same week for the Bachelor of Business, majoring in information
Right.
systems. Um,
Is that through the School of Business?
yeah,
Right.
School of Business. So there's some sort of pathway where School of Business and the School of Sport and Rec are able to work together.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for uh, within 4 years for both.
Right.
Um, yeah, and then I guess volunteered. Long story short, ended up at your graduation. We connected.
But to be clear, you LinkedIn. I
Yeah,
did a
yeah,
security
LinkedIn.
check. You seem legit.
There's heaps of Sione Finau.
Yes, there
Yeah,
are a lot of. This is true.
yeah.
That's a different story, but it is true. There was a Sione Finau that came up as a red flag, and I was like, I hope it's not
Not
this
me.
one. But you didn't look the same.
No, yeah.
And
I
then I
think
thought, okay, that's cool. He's not a
the year that
axe wielding murderer.
I think the year it was published would have not made sense of I think the age
You were
of
a
it.
fetus,
Yeah, I would have
like
been.
an
I was
innocent,
like,
and I thought, fine, I can do this. When you were, studying your sport and rec and your business degree, what were you hoping for career wise?
you know what? I didn't during that during that part in my life, I don't think I was as forward thinking as I am now.
Right.
So I don't think there was a clear pathway at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I was hoping to get opportunities in the sport and recreation sector,
Right.
or at least try my hand in that business sector.
Sure.
Um, but yes, that's what my mindset was probably at the time
Okay.
of studying at that point in time.
And do you want to say how many roles you had applied for with those
Man,
two
it was
qualifications?
after that because I knew I applied on my last year, second semester of my last year, just in the hope something could be grabbed when I finished or graduated. And yeah, I just got a lot of thank you, but you're not the person we're looking for at this point in time.
Right.
Unfortunately, didn't get through to the interview stages. I had a lot of that.
Do you remember how many? You've got 30. That's how many fingers. Okay.
That,
Fiona is
that would have been
indicating
more than
more
yeah,
than 30.
because I started second sim and I just was
Right.
like, oh no, I'm almost at the finish line here,
Yes.
and I got nothing lined up.
Right.
So I think it was more than 30, but definitely less than 50, somewhere between
Sure.
less than 50.
Sure.
Um,
One of the things, I guess, when you had asked me for mentorship was then looking at your studies
mm.
and getting that feedback from my friends in HR
Oh
that
yeah,
that your CV didn't quite
just
make
didn't make
sense.
sense. Yeah, yeah. But that made sense. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so when this wise person suggested that you did mental health and addictions as a potential in postgraduate level, what were your thoughts about my suggestion?
Man, I think I was like, I wonder what I was thinking at that time. I was like, oh, why not? Because I think it was just why not.
Hmm.
I think I just hadn't been given any opportunities at that time.
And from my perspective, and this is where I think that, in the same way that the sport and rec at AUT build relationships with, commerce,
Mm.
I think that we should also be building relationships and partnerships with health science like mental health and addictions, because
That makes sense.
one of the things when I looked at your CV when you initially sent it to me was there's such a big market opportunity. The sports sector is littered with drug and alcohol
Oh yeah, I mean,
and
you can
mental
find any
health.
news article that mentions that.
Yes. And there's also, within your own context, Sione, I just felt that mental health addictions and physical education go hand in hand in terms of wellness. In fact, sometimes physical activity can be, depending on context, can be just as powerful, if not more so,
Mm.
than some of the medications I was thinking about. Some things around
Oh,
like depression and anxiety, for example.
yeah,
Yeah,
medication can only do so much.
exactly. So I thought, here's a real opportunity to kind of upskill you. But then hold the phone, because not only did you get warmly supported to do your postgraduate diploma at that stage, heading towards your master's in mental health, I also warmly suggested you did some other quals. So what else did you end up doing?
Oh, okay. Well, should we go batch up or the timeline I did after?
Whatever you want to do.
Oh,
So how many quals have you got now?
now are we including certificates? Or
Yes.
14?
Nice.
Maybe less.
Okay.
Maybe 13.
Which
So
ones are the ones that are kind of sticking out for you right now?
right now, I guess the masters. I
Yes,
think that
that's right. Congratulations. I should have
masters
remembered that as
in
your supervisor.
yeah, I think
Yes.
the masters in health practice,
Mental health.
majoring in mental health and addiction.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a significant milestone.
It isn't
Um,
significant because how old are you?
25.
I mean,
Turning
that is a.
26.
I didn't do my first masters until I think I was 31 is when I finished it. So what's that? 29,
Oh, okay.
something like that.
Yeah. Which one is that one?
The Masters
Otago?
Masters
Oh,
of
right.
Indigenous Studies with Otago.
Yeah. I won one.
Yes, yes, I know you. It's for context, listeners. This young man has an absolute appetite of trying to meet and surpass my record of 35 quals.
I inspired.
I mean, but what would you? Yes, but my pathway makes sense though.
I won one.
Well, as you know, I'm doing my fourth master's in artificial intelligence.
Oh, yes.
Are you
Yes.
thinking that might be something you might do as an additional master's?
Like it makes sense.
As
Cons-
some are thinking from information systems.
yeah, yes, that, and then also in health, in
Yes.
health, GPs are using it. What does that look like in some of
Mm.
those
Mm.
management positions?
Hmm.
How's Sefatiora are using it? Are they looking at using it? They're not.
I still think it's
Whereas,
problematic. And one of the
yeah,
things that in my own, if I swapped out my academic role and went into community mode, one of the things that I'm doing at the moment is working with community organizations because their staff are using ChatGPT to
to count, right, and
write their
council.
patient notes.
Right.
And what they're doing is they're actually entering in their name, their date of birth, their
Oh,
address,
oh,
clear breaches of the human,
yeah,
not wrong one, Privacy Act.
yeah,
A- And so, and people don't know. They just think, oh, they have no idea that, the information is stored.
no,
What country is it being
yeah,
collected?
true.
How is that data being used?
AI still hasn't. I don't think we're clear about where all that
No, I
goes.
don't believe so. This is why I
No,
want to do the masters, but
yeah,
also more importantly, to do those patients/clients know that their information is being used like this.
mm,
So I think AI can be an incredibly valuable tool,
yeah,
but it can also be
harmful. We
very
just don't
harmful.
know how.
Yeah.
Um, very interesting. I think
Yes.
this could be
Yes.
its own video.
So what were you thinking as I was suggesting different calls to increase your employment opportunities? I was thinking the Heart Foundation, for example,
Yeah, I think that was a cool one. I remember that.
Pacific Nutrition.
Yeah, yeah. I love that course. It was a good course. I think with the people around.
Hmm.
Um,
How did you apply it? Because later on, of course, you became a support worker before you became a health practitioner.
yeah.
So How have you been able to use your quals
It's actually
to get yourself ahead?
like all of them, or that just specifically that Pacific.
Take me on a journey.
Oof. I think all the skills I learned from the quals hadn't been used confidently until much recently.
Really?
Yeah, like
Can you
I've
give me an
learned
example?
them. I think if we stay on that Pacific nutrition one, I had to kind of get a firm foundation as a support worker first, and then as a health professional first before I could start using the additional stuff that I had
Right.
come.
Right.
Because it was like I think I was kind of I guess not on firm grounds to be able to kind of suggest things like, oh hey, are we able to like with clients who are using hard drugs?
Right.
I think suggestions of like discussing nutrition would be a hard thing for me to have with them. We hadn't addressed other stuff,
Yes.
other underlying stuff as well on trauma and that. But um now like I've spent some time in the field, I've kind of understood where nutrition in that comes in the form of like let's say protective factors and risk factors and that when working with the phi order that I'm supporting. So
Yeah. So
it just takes time.
so just for context, so you're saying that the physical and nutritional needs aren't the priority. So just for context, just very basics, what kind of environment do you work in at the moment?
Also, I work in the in a social housing service.
Right.
I think I started off as a support worker in a permanent housing kind of setting where there was a partnership with two organizations.
Right.
And then I moved into the youth services where I specifically work in the youth emergency housing setting
Right.
with our rangatahi from the ages of, oof, where do I get? I think I have caseload from the youngest being 16, and then the oldest in the rangatahi would be 24-ish, 25-ish, before they transition out to like our the adult services,
Right.
or other youth transitional services, depending on the age they are in.
So,
And then
so you're dealing with young people that have got critical needs.
Yeah, because the emergency housing. So
Right. So the first place is stabilization and getting into house, so into their own house. Where does the role of nutrition and physical activity then come in?
well, you could argue that it could come either before or after or somewhere in between.
What? In between what?
Between the discussions around, well, for me, like discussion around drugs, and alcohol, things around mental health. Sometimes there's the risks that need to be kind of addressed first, like self-harm, harming others,
Right.
all that jazz. So it's hard for me to kind of implement where that conversation comes in with the person I'm working with, and where their level of understanding is at. Because we had a conversation way back when we talked about understanding if someone's illiterate or not. And I was like, well, that's going to be a problem because how do I explain, how I talk about the health and disability with the kids? And I was like, you guys understand what this means, what options look like. So I actually have to walk through with the young kids, hey, do you feel respected? This is what I'm trying to show you. This is the health and disability. This is how other health professionals should be working with you. Like, it's very kind of complex.
It is.
And it's like, nutrition is important, but I think for me it's like, oof, it's hard to kind of implement that in when myself, the support workers, have different tasks and that they needed to do. Would love to talk about nutrition, but it's like time and place. Yeah.
And for context, many of the whānau that we work with in our community roles have numeracy and literacy as an issue.
Yeah, and that's important. That's actually important, but it's so interesting when you see a common theme of drug use and then also literacy. I don't know if there's been research on it. Maybe you could.
I think that from what I vaguely remember, that there's connections because people feel reading and writing are our core. Even though we predominantly text now and use laptops, right? But reading and writing is core.
Yeah.
So often people that I've worked with feel excluded.
Mm.
I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, I was dealing with a guy who couldn't read and write, so he'd look at the cans. The pictures on the cans would tell him what it
Oh,
was.
right.
This is spaghetti. This is baked beans.
Yeah.
Obviously eggs are easy,
Wow.
but he couldn't buy, say, your generic products like
Mm.
cans that might just have just the words and like a white background. He had no idea
Yeah.
what it had.
Wow.
And it wasn't until I had done, it was even my third or fourth home visit, and I noticed that something in his cupboard, anyway, it drew my attention. I think he asked me what did I want to drink, and I noticed when he opened his cupboard, the way that he presented it, it just looked a bit.
Was it color coded or something? Or?
Yeah, and it looked, yeah. It was interesting to me, and I just said to him, "What's up with that?" I said, "That's an interesting space," and I think I kind of naturally thought maybe he's neurodiverse in terms of how he was categorizing stuff, and
Yeah.
he just happened to say, "Oh, look, don't judge me, but I can't read."
Yeah. And that's a big thing, yeah. That's
All
actually
right.
a shameful thing.
Yes, and I realized that there was something out because I'd give him a document and I'd say to him, "Look, we really need to get this."
Mm.
He's like, "Oh, I'll do it later." And so I just thought, "Oh, I'm not going to force him." And then I realized every delay was because he didn't know.
Yeah.
And then I thought, "Damn, I've assumed
Yeah.
that he has the ability to understand and read this,
Yeah.
and he doesn't." So I had to stop everything and it wasn't any skin off my nose, but take the time to read what was on the document. What
Imagine
does this mean?
imagine him with like doctors.
Yes.
And it's like, shucks,
Yeah.
that's gonna be so hard.
But there's a lot of trust involved
Yeah.
because while the pharmacists that I have are very clear about what to take and what not to take, but if you weren't sure, if you weren't listening properly,
Mm.
you couldn't read on your medication
Yeah.
container, how many times a day do I take this medication? Is it with food? Is it without food? So it's always stuck with me, which is one of the reasons why I'm doing the
Numeracy literacy. We both are.
well, we both are,
I'm looking
right?
forward to it. What, February?
Yeah. And a lot of the people that I work with that come out of prison
Yeah.
also have reading and writing issues. So to me, which goes back to your point,
Mm.
like nutrition or being able to do our roles is central, but if we can't get them to do this bit,
Yeah.
we're not, yeah.
We forget sometimes that our kind of service is built upon like
Yes.
other stuff, like
100%.
basic understanding, and it's like, that's why doing the literacy and numeracy course makes sense.
To me, it makes sense, but I also think there's sometimes when people say to me that I'm an overachiever, I just laugh because I think actually no, there's just lots of needs
Yeah.
in our community,
Yeah.
and for me, study is a way of understanding how do we do this with the latest research. How can we do this methodically? How can we do this in a way that reaches our population groups?
What would your response be if someone said, "How about maybe staying in your lane and getting someone else to do the job?" Well, what would your response be?
I'd love to.
Yeah, but
There's a waiting list.
yeah,
Or sometimes there's a high cost.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So there's a big gap in the services. So it makes sense for us to kind of
Yes.
diversify.
But also, I specialize in 8 different areas,
Oh.
of which adult education is one.
Mm.
So it's not like it's a random thing. I do have a master's in education, and as you know, various other qualifications in adult
Yes,
teaching.
I'm looking at them at the wall.
Then I combine that bit within the mental health addictions and therapy perspective. Then I look at that from a financial capability because that's my other space.
Love the financial capability.
Oh, me too. And then it's like, how do we crisscross this over? And from an Indigenous perspective, all I'm doing is exactly what my ancestors did.
Mm.
They learned different skill sets. They brought it back to their iwi or hapus or, tribal affiliations or whānau. So, no one's ever told me to stay in my lane because if they did, I'd say, which one?
And where are you
They're
standing?
all my lane, Doreda.
Well, in the video, maybe right.
But then I do it with pride.
Mm.
What's that expression, Sione, about master of none?
Oh yeah, the Master of None something of all. Or it's the oh, jack of all trade,
Jack of all trades, master of
Yeah,
none.
yeah.
My case is jack of all trade, masters of four. So
Soon to be 5.
no, four.
Oh, four's
I'm
gonna be
going to
the.
stop at my
Oh,
fourth.
okay, right.
You
Was
can.
there a second PhD? I remember.
There is a
listening
second PhD coming up as well, and then I'll stop.
Okay, all right.
Although I said in the previous podcast, no, because
Because then you wanted to do 40. I was like, good God.
It's true. I mean, yes, because then I'll have 36 quals. I'm 4 away from 40, so.
Yeah. Oof. Oh, well, good luck to you. Yeah,
And then I'm 4 away from my address that I'm currently living in, which is 44. So
we should keep it private that one.
No.
In case you might have fans.
Wow, just saying. I have no regrets. Study to me is life.
Yeah. Helpful.
Incredibly, look, every clinical report that I do, every assignment that I mark, every conference that I attend, every meeting, whether it's at AUT or else, just being able to talk from a sense of the most current and up-to-date research information and learnings is key.
There's the teaching and the learning, but then there's also opportunity. That's how I met you.
Yeah.
Your PhD graduation.
Absolutely. And I'm all about fortuitous occasions, right? Given all of that, so what we're saying is, look, you're in the sector now, you're in mental health and addictions, you're applying these different, do you have any papers for polls? 14?
I think it's 14 or 13. I need to have a relook at it. I just sent you a new one.
Yeah. So given that, my question is simply this. How do all your skill sets, qualifications that have led up to this 25-year-old version of you, how does this contribute as one of the podcasters from the Upper Marae?
Oh, oof. This is a tough one.
You're applying humility because you're doing a very bad job. Go on now, my little arrogant 25-year-old. You know what you want to say.
I think again, I think I'm pretty young in the field. Very much limited in experience of what I can provide and the diverse perspectives and the qualifications I can also provide. I think I can play as a team member with Nigel, with Irie, and with alongside of yourself, and then when we kind of combine our different experiences in that, I think we can all give very wide sort of catchment with different listeners and what we can offer, and then
I agree. Nigel's talked very clearly about a Samoan perspective, a social work perspective.
Yeah.
Irie's talked about someone who is a fluent Reo speaker, a support worker in mental health and addictions. You come from a mental health and addictions perspective. I do too, plus 6 other specialties. So I think those dynamics can be so rich.
Yeah. Like the ice cream containers with the different.
I don't know, I'm diabetic, so right. I ain't having no ice cream right now, my friend, but thanks for rubbing that in.
Anywho.
Now, let me just jump back into one education question and then one personal question, and then we'll end it there. PhD comes after a master's.
Yes.
Is that what you're looking at doing?
Yes. After the MIT qualification, I would like to pursue the PhD. I think you talked about it briefly was it the first episode or the second?
Yes.
I can't remember. But yeah, I guess you kind of raised the flag, and I'm raising the flag again. So it's in discussions.
Because I think Nigel talked about it. He said he'd love to see Dr. Peterson, Dr. Thomas.
Oh yes.
Dr. Finau.
Yeah.
I've already got mine, so second time's just showing off. So for you, would you be the first in your direct family to get a PhD?
Yes. Short answer, yes.
Right. Is that something that assuming that you'll get it and you better?
Yeah.
Is that something that's a big deal, kind of in your family, or?
Yeah, it would be, because I don't think my parents coming from Tonga would ever think that the son would, kind of strive for a PhD. So
I mean, it is inspiring. They came on they came over on a defunct now airline.
Yeah, so
And I guess like many Pacific immigrants, it was coming to New Zealand for what is
better life essentially.
yeah. So in essence, all their hard work
Yeah, with I
it
think
has contributed to you
yeah,
getting ahead.
getting ahead, and then
Is that why you're so generous and giving
yes,
to your family?
yes.
Yes.
Next question.
Yeah. I guess personally speaking, what are you hoping to achieve? So, with the Upper Marae podcast, Irie was talking about different people he'd like to interview, including the
Oh yes,
Prime
yes, because
Minister,
oh
and Nigel was talking about All Blacks, and I said, look, if
right.
you're going to do sports stars, that's a Sione and Nigel segment. I'm not doing it because I don't know anything about sports.
I mean, I think you have some good stories. You had lunch with Jonah Lomi.
I did have
Like
lunch with John Alamy.
when he worked
And I
at
also served him as well a few times.
yeah. I'm like, wow, that is quite an
Yeah,
interesting
yeah.
story. But
What you saw, what you saw was a genuine human being.
yeah,
He didn't let his position get the better of it. Can I give you a quick example? This is way back in Jurassic Park days in the mid-90s. You know the pieces of paper that go on a tray at McDonald's?
pieces of paper.
There was like pieces of, like paper that would go on a tray.
Oh, so that people will eat on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It had images of Jonah Lamu.
Oh, true. Abacus.
Yeah, so
Right.
there he was holding a McDonald's tray with his face on, on
Oh,
this piece of
right.
paper. And he came over to Georgie Pie, which is where I was, and I just said, and I remember, because, yeah, that's a different story. But I said to him, do you think it's buzzy or out of it that you're literally eating a meal with your.
Based on it.
Yeah, and he goes, it is surreal.
Oh, I think there's a story about like because he would eat at Macca's quite a number of times, and he would shout other kids.
Yes.
Oh, so it's, oh
Yeah,
right,
that's
right.
true. But can I also say to you, when I spoke to Peter Hillary, so that's Sir Edmund Hillary's son, who went up
Oh,
to
wait.
Victor,
Oh, true, true, true.
I asked him how did I was doing a series for Money Week called Take Note. So I was at the Commission for Financial Capability. I reached out to our friends at the Reserve Bank to see if we could do these notes. One of the things I asked Peter Hillary was, what was it like for his dad to be featured on a $5
Oh, and
$5 note? And what Peter said to me was that two things. One, his father was always humbled.
yeah.
Because at that stage, except for the Queen, he was the only living person.
Oh,
To be
right
on a
on the
note.
note, true. Yeah.
Right? So the responsibility was massive. But what he also said was when he'd go back to Nepal, he was really grateful it was $5 because if he was on a $100 bill, he'd be bankrupt because people would ask for notes
Oh,
and sign them.
right. Wow.
And I just thought, these are the stories that you'd never
Never
get.
hear. No.
Right? So, yeah.
I think that answers that question. For the upper marae.
Very good.
Getting
So you don't want to get
close.
in any Tongan nobles,
Oh,
Tongan Prime Minister.
look, I don't have many connections. I don't have many friends.
No one from Utah. Or any other
Anyways,
places.
what's the end of the podcast?
Hey, that's my line. Get back. Well, look, that brings, it should be my turn, thanks very much. That brings us to the end of today's kōrero here on the Upper Marae. The gates are now closed. Thank you so much, Sione. I look forward to all four of us finally kickstarting
Yeah,
the
looking
next
forward to it.
episode. Until next time, haere rā. Goodbye.